Hello friends, this is tutorial number 64 in this C++ programming course. In this tutorial we will talk about inheritance. We will learn what is a base class and what is derived class. And now let's create one class. First we need to create a project. Console application. The name of the project will be inheritance. We will have a couple of projects of inheritance. We will call it inheritance 01. Okay, here is our project, and we will create one class. The base class, it is the class that we already created earlier. But the difference will be we will use inheritance and we will have a derived class. First we will create a class, for example addition. Let's create a class addition without destructor. Here is our class addition, and we will just have one member, one private member. It will be title, which will be string, but we need to go to the main. Just a second. We will put main here. Let's use this IO stream and namespace standard to addition.cpp. Let's paste it here, and I will use namespace standard here and in the addition class. We already have a private member, which is a title, which is a string, and this means that I also need to include string in addition h file, and also I will include it in addition cpp file. And this is our base class addition. We have one private member, which is a title, and we will also create a get and set function. We can use string, but for the set we can also use a void. It will be get title, and we will have string title as a parameter, and we will need a string. Here will be set title, and string will be get title without parameter. Of course we can use a void and string, but this time we will use a void function. And now let's go to the cpp file to define these two functions. First we have a void. It will be addition set title. We will have string title as a parameter, and now we will just write this. We will use this keyword. This title will be equals to a title, and we need to define a get function. We will just return a title. which will be okay. We have our main file. Let's just try to run this to see if everything works properly, and it will not work properly. Let me see where is the error. Probably maybe it's a syntax error. Set title. I use, just a moment, I use private function. It just need to be a string, not a function. Okay, and this works properly now. And now what we want to do, we just want to extend this class. This is our base class, and we want to extend this class. We will extend with some derived class. What is the derived class? Derived class, it can use public and protected members from the base class. It cannot use a private members. Now I will show you. We have addition. Okay, we can have some book, magazine, newspaper. Let's create one class. We'll create the name of the class will be a book without destructor. And it will have a private member, which will be string, and it will be author. And we will create set and get function. Now we can use string set author. Of course, we can use a string or void. It doesn't matter. The point is, if we have a string, in this function we need to return string. If we have a void function, we don't need to return anything. We will have string author as a parameter, and we will also have a string get author function without parameter. And now how we don't we want to this will be a derived class. We want to extend addition class. And how we gonna do that? To extend a class, here in the CPP file addition, we need to include a book class, and here in the book class book age file we will include a base class, which is addition. And here we have a class book. We need 2 dots, and we need to write public, and we will write addition. This means that this class book will extend the class, the base class addition. And now in the CPP file, let's define these functions. Okay, we have a default constructor, and now let's define, we have 2 string functions. String book set author, we have string author as a parameter, and we will use this keyword. This author will be equals to author, and we need this is a string function, we need to return author. It's up to you how you will create a set function. You can use a string and you can use a void. If we use a string, we just need to return string. If we are using void, we don't need to return anything. And now let's define a get function. We will just return author, and we have created a book class, created and defined book class, which will extend edition class. Edition class is the base class, and book class is a derived class. Now we can create one more derived class. Let's create a new class. The name of the class will be magazine. Without destructor. Here is our class, and here we need to first in addition CPP. It will also extend addition class. In the addition.cpp we will include this derived class, the same thing as we did with book class. We will include magazine. And here in the magazine.h file we will include base class, which is edition. Now here in the magazine we will write two dots, then public, and we will write edition. This means that the class magazine will extend edition class, and we will have one private member. It will be an integer, and it will be copies. And let's create set and get function. We will use void set copies. We will have integer copies as a parameter, and we need get function, which will be integer get copies. Now we will define it in the CPP file. Void set copies. We will just write this. We are using this keyword. These copies will be equals to copies. And let's define get function. Get copies. And we will return copies. Okay, let's go to the main file. Let's try to run again to see if everything works properly. Okay, here in the set function I forgot to add the parameter, which will be copies. My mistake. Now let's try to run again. Just let me see. This is a void function. Yes, it's not a string, it's an integer. Okay, it works properly. Okay, we have no mistakes anymore. Now let's go to the main class. We will delete this hello world, and what we need to do, we need to include all of these class. First we need to include addition, which is a base class, and we will also include derived classes. First we have a book class, and we will include a magazine. And now, first we will create one book. Let's start. Let's create book. The name of the book will be B1, but we will use a pointer. We will allocate this book in the memory. Will be equals to new. We are creating new book, new book. Okay, our constructor is empty. And now what we need to do, we will use get and set functions. As you can see, in the book class, it has one field which is the author, but we also in the book class we also can use public functions of the base class, of the class addition. We can this field title, we can use it. Private members, we can from the private member from the base class, we cannot use it in the derived class. We can use protected and public members. We don't have protected now, but I will show you in one of the next tutorials. Now let's use. I will show you how we can use that. Now we want to add a title. We will use this keyword B1. Let's use here we can use set title. As you can see, we are using public function of the base class. We are using set title, and the name of the book will be Thinking in C++. Okay, it will be a title of the book. And let's use set author function. The name of the author will be Bruce Eck. It's a great book about C++, and I suggest you to read this one, of course, and to learn from my tutorials too. And now we want to write a sentence. We use two functions, set title and set author. Of course, set author is the public function from the class of book, but we also use a public function of the base class addition. Now let's write a sentence. The title of the book is, and now we will write B1. Let's use this keyword, and we will use get author function. And we will write, and the author is, and let's write B1. Let's use this keyword again, and we will use get author function, and we will use end line. And if we don't need this object book anymore, we will just delete it we will delete it from the memory. We will delete B1. And let's see if it will work properly. Okay, here it is. The title of the book is Bruce Eckel. I made get author. Here I need to use get title instead of get author. My mistake. The title of the book is Thinking in C++, and the author is Bruce Eckel, which works perfectly fine. And now we can also do the same thing. We can create another object which will be a magazine. We will call it M1, or it can be created. It can be created here. Magazine M1 equals to new magazine. We have default constructor only without parameters, and now let's write M1. Let's set a title. The title of the magazine will be Wired. And now the set title is the function of the base class addition. And now we need to set copies. It is a function from the class magazine. Here it is. We have set and get copies. Now we will set copies. The number of the copies, it is integer. It will be 20,000, for example. And let's write a sentence. We can write it here. The title of the magazine is, and we will use M1 and get title. Okay, let's not mistake this time. And we will write, and the number of copies is, and let's use M1, this keyword, and we will use get copies function, and we will delete it from the memory. If we don't need it anymore, we will just delete M1. Pretty much simple. Now let's see if it will work properly. The title of them, okay, but let me just use end line here. It works, but we will use it with end line. It will be better. Okay, as you can see, the title of the magazine is Wired, and the number of copies is 20,000, which works great. And this is the simple example of how we can use inheritance. Of course, to understand it better, we will do some more complex examples in the next tutorials. But this is one simple example. I really hope that you understand it. If you understand it, And if you like this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. You have a link in the description, and I will see you in the next tutorial.